podcast, Skills, Competency, Capabilities. The importance of CQC principle-based practices in achieving skills, competency and capabilities cannot be over-enforced. A considerable number of CQC and MSD enthusiasts do not understand the Tradecraft training practices and requirements to achieve practical hands-on capabilities, high-level competency, and increase chances of objective achievement under high-level threats situations. Just being instructed in a skill and practicing it a handful of times does not equate to any level of competency or capability required to neutralize formidable foes. Our tactics and skills are principle-based, and once the exponent or proponent has achieved an enabling level and then moved on to a testing level of competency, they will be well versed in the initiation and execution of tactics and skills to achieve their objectives. That is, if they have the required high level of mental toughness. There is a range of minor and major components required in the achievement of the threat neutralization objective in high-risk threat situations that must be mastered to ensure combatants are ready and prepared for the realities of actions on, including sudden aggressive shock actions and the requirement for proficiency in contingency capabilities to deal with changes in threat, situation, and environment. Undertaking a pre-actions-on assessment and making a decision on best means of threat neutralization and objective achievement in regard to the threat specifics is important, but often it will come down to the actions-on factors that will determine the initiation and employment of these specific skills to achieve the objective. Range, skill, and commitment are vital components of unarmed offensive assault and unarmed counter-offensive assault strategies that go without saying. However, often employment directions and other factors will be decided by real-time fast mapping assessment and decision-making best means of threat neutralization. Take, for example, unarmed evasive counter-engagement or non-ballistic incoming weapons, disarming, disabling, and disposing of the threat. And the final decisions as to the timing and direction will be determined by the enemy unarmed or armed incoming direction and other threat-specific characteristics. It is important that exponents do not overthink or add unnecessary stresses to the face situation, as this will cause confusion and can lead to self-doubt, and in training often frustration in regard to how decisions are being made that are not best or proven primary practices. Training and all forms of training, including drills and battle handling exercises, must be treated the same as a real-life actions-on. The same practices and principles apply, and a controlled, ready mentality where assessment, decision-making, initiation and execution is employed with confidence and controlled aggression is the best means practice of effectively achieving objectives of threat neutralization. While through extensive and intensive skills training and high-level competency and proficiency achievement, your primary unarmed offensive assault and counter-offensive assault skills should be of a level that will enable effective threat neutralization. Having these skills squared away leaves you with just constant fast mapping assessment, making any adjustments, and ensuring range, skill, and commitment with controlled aggressive accuracy are the most important factors, along with uncompromising mental toughness, inner resolve, and intestinal fortitude. Through skills competency with unarmed offensive assault in regards to making range and initiation and execution of your skill, the real factors are controlled aggressive target placement, by means of the fundamentals being correctly employed, as in a correct order of execution and with fluid action. This all begins with correct and committed skills initiation off of the squat crouch, powered by CQC respiration. The CQC respiration powered squat crouch setting of your skills kickoff capability is an index marker for everything you do, and if it is employed with confidence and competency combined with skills execution timing, the likelihood of effectively employing the skills is increased by considerable. Even though the combatant has assessed and decided on the means and method of threat neutralization, the final threat specifics considerations will determine the exact form of skills execution. having a predetermined target picture or target process in relation to direction is a fault that can lead to failing to achieve the objective or increasing the chances of being contacted with. A good example of this in stamp kicks execution, unarmed offensive assault, is looking at the enemy PER's front boot and deciding to execute a stamp kick at that front leg. And if the enemy PER slides the targeted boot out of the way, the stamp kick will fail to make target contact. However, by not making an exact target decision until entry has been made, the chances of effective threat neutralisation are increased by considerable. So off of the squat crouch, powered by CQC respiration, make entry, and then assess and decide on the closest available target and direct your stamp kick at that closest forward limb. For unarmed evasive counter-offensive assault, squat crouching, inhaling, identifying the travel of the incoming striking arm or leg, and then evading away from the incoming threat increases chances of primary evasive direction being employed. Having a complete strategy for unarmed offensive and counter-offensive assault that has a beginning kickoff point of the squat crouch, ready, set, go, powered by CQC respiration, reduces the chances of getting things wrong and guessing over assessing and identifying closest and best targets. The CQC strategies allow for human error. However, any committed, dedicated exponent, proponent, or instructor should eliminate to the lowest level humanly possible the chances of making initiation and execution errors by having a strategy that has a correct order of execution and is threat neutralisation specific. Often training errors begin with failing to follow the correct fluid action order of execution initiated and powered from start to finish with CQC cycled respiration. Those that have difficulties in achieving objectives under training or training exercises simply need to go back to square one and ensure they are initiating and executing their skills off of the squat crouch ready set go status powered by CQC cycled respiration, and make sure they are using constant fast mapping assessment to identify best targets and also directional requirements. There are factual reasons for the inclusion of all minor and major components in the execution of skills that are there to maximise the chances of objective achievement and maximise levels of safety. Combine this with skills initiation, distractions, deception, dirty tricks, and the likelihood of achieving threat neutralisation is increased by considerable. The CQC, squat, crouch, and cycled respiration, for example, interferes with the enemy visual and mental focus and can cause a reduction in their offensive entry speed. It also ensures the combatant is a compact, reduced target and puts them in a ready, set, go, expedient action position and status. So while the combatant may have made the decision to employ unarmed offensive assault or unarmed counter-offensive assault and will have decided on the specific unarmed offensive assault option or unarmed counter-offensive assault option, the final decisions are made in relation to the available target at the final point of entry when the combatant is past the point of no return and must get a target picture of the closest or most exposed target. Similarly, with the unarmed counter-offensive assault, especially with evasive counter-engagement, the combatant will utilise the squat, crouch, and CQC respiration ready, set, go status and will identify the incoming attacking limb line of travel and take evasive action away from the attacking limb to a position of counter-engagement initiation. With non-ballistic weapons disarming under incoming entry assault, similar evasive practices apply, beginning with the squat crouch powered by cycled CQC respiration and then evading away from the travel of the incoming weapon to a position where the threat can be disarmed, disabled, and disposed of. This under rapid assault often comes down to evading away from the blur of the front point or tip of the weapon. The ready, set, go, squat, crouch combined with CQC cycled respiration is the most important part of effective unarmed offensive assault skills employments and unarmed counter-offensive assault skills employments. And if this is not performed correctly, then objective achievement difficulties will be the result and risks will be increased as such. Our MIL CQC strategies provide primary and correct orders of instruction that reduce risk, increase safety, and maximise chances of formidable foes threat neutralisation. The skills and practices are principle-based and allow for a level of human error, but what they do not allow for is the skills being employed in less than a proper and correct means to ensure safety and effectiveness are maximised. Regardless of whether the combatant is initiating an unarmed offensive assault action or an unarmed counter-offensive assault action, the squat crouch, inhale, exhale, combined with expedient entry or expedient evasive counter-engagement set the platform and capability to best achieve threat neutralisation.